And the RP Show continues. Hour two, brought to you by CoolBet Canada. Always the best odds. Use promo code RP200 to claim your welcome double bet bonus up to $200 at coolbet.com. Kevin Karius joins us from Sports 1440 Edmonton. And Dickie, you probably saw the Oilers are favored by the sports books to win this thing in 7, which begins on Wednesday. What are you thinking about the Stanley Cup final?
I got him in 5. Roddy, I'm picking the Oilers in 5. I think that this team is playing so well right now. They've got more depth than they've ever had. When you look at how this matchup is going to play out, Florida has a lot of depth too, but I don't think it matches what the Oilers can bring on a line to line to line to line basis. And they've got so many guys on the bottom 6 right now, guys like Janmark, guys like put Coles in. Kapanen's even been in the top 6 forwards group, but they've got more depth now than they've ever had, and I think it's going to be a problem for Florida to handle.
Oilers never do it easy, do they? I remember like your first visit of the year, they'd lost in Montreal, right? And you were like, they only work as hard as they have to. They don't. Where did they get it together? I have not found yet that spot where it all came together.
Well, to be honest with you, it probably came together in the Los Angeles series. And there were a couple key points in that series where it could have gone either way, but the Oilers remained calm and they battled hard. I mean, if you go back to Game 3, there was that coach's challenge by Jim Hiller. It was ill-advised, and it ended up being a big reason why the Oilers won game number 3. Then in game number 4, I mean, Quinton Byfield had an opportunity to clear the puck with the Kings up 3-2 in the last minute of the game. He fails to do so. The Oilers tie it and then score in overtime to win it. I would say right at that part is where everything came together, because you have to remember that this whole team that we're seeing right now never played together at all when it comes to the regular season, because Evander Kane was out the entire year. Trent Frederick came on at the end of the year and didn't play hardly at all, 1 game, and that was it. And then you saw the other pieces of the puzzle really come on defense, and Troy Stetcher has been an absolute blessing. He's out of the lineup now with Matthias Ekholm coming back in. But, I mean, all the players right now this is the most they've ever looked like a team. It was always Connor and Leon and then whatever else. But right now, it's more of a team than we've ever seen before.
Rich from Edmonton writes in, he says, the Kevin Karius show makes the early morning commute from St. Albert to the office downtown much more tolerable. Oh, I thought you were going to say, Rich, he makes it longer. Kev, listen, I'd pick the Oilers to lose every series for various reasons. But can I say this? The Oilers fans are the hardest on their team of any Canadian NHL team, maybe anybody in the NHL, because I thought Bouchard sucked. I thought Nurse sucked. I thought Skinner sucked. I thought they all sucked except Connor and Leon. And now they're the greatest thing ever. That's all I heard all year out of Edmonton. Media, too. They're the hardest in the country on their team.
I agree. I mean, when the team is not performing well, as you know, you have a busy text line. We have an enormously busy text line, and it explodes every time that the team is not doing well. And the main targets are, you mentioned it, Bouchard, it's Skinner. Those 2 guys get the brunt of it. Darnell Nurse gets a fair bit of it as well. But all 3 of those guys right now are playing outstanding. So you have to have a thick skin to play here. You heard the comments out of Toronto. We all heard those about, even Brad Marchand saying about playing in Toronto and how tough the media is, how tough the fans are. The Oilers embrace it here, and they feed off it. And that's why they are a successful team.
I love that you brought that up, because they kind of harnessed it or something. I don't know if they use it for motivation, because there's no less pressure in Edmonton than Toronto. Mm-hmm. There might even be more. How do they do that? Because they're on the verge of winning a Stanley Cup potentially.
How do they do it? It's a good question. It's a fair question. But I think you have to, if you use it in a negative way, it's going to breed into you, and it's going to like cause and it's festering and things like that. You have to be able to use it in a positive way. The fans here, as you know, are smart. They know, they follow the game. They understand the game. They can take it over the line to an extent many times, but they are very knowledgeable hockey fans. And that's the thing. So I think that the players themselves use that in a positive way to build on it instead of using it in a negative way to deter them.
A great answer. And I would love to debate it with you. We could talk about it for hours, but I don't know if you've thought about this yet, because now in what you're doing, as opposed to the TV role before, it goes, right? You don't have a lot of time to sit and think about things beyond what's right in front of you. But maybe this summer you'll be at Crooked Lake,
Crooked
with your
Lake, yeah.
feet up, and think about Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway. Remember how the Oilers got beat up for not keeping those guys? Does it even matter now?
Absolutely not. I mean, yes, those are two good, very, very good young players. So that's the only hard part here is the cupboard is a little bit bare when it comes to young talent and young developed talent. So losing those two guys was tough for sure, but there's nothing they can do about it now. And I mean, if you ask Broberg and Holloway right now, what would they be doing? Would they rather be playing? You betcha they would. So they had wonderful years, and I think the Oilers are happy for them. But you know what? They also picked up a guy like Kasperi Kapanen off waivers from St. Louis, off waivers, and he has been outstanding in the playoffs. He's really looked good. He fits in well wherever he plays. He's a banger. He's a hitter. He can play with Leon. He can play down the line. It doesn't matter. And he's contributing offensively, and he's very, very physical. That's something they've never had. Like, he's even more physical than a Holloway was last year.
I'm just saying, it was just a big thing at the time. And now we don't even think about him. I get the future, but the future's now. Okay, here's a fun thing that I've been doing for years when I look at a preview a series. I want to do it with you. Check marks. Okay? Florida, Edmonton in this series. My check mark in goal is going to Florida, but I'm not going to guess what you're going to say. Who are you giving it to?
I would say it goes to Florida as well. And Stu Skinner has to continue to prove people wrong. You know, I mean, if you look at his numbers since he came in after the first two games against the Kings, those numbers are better than anyone. That's a simple fact. He let in the one bad goal in game number 5 in the conference final against Dallas. Other than that, he has been remarkable. But I would still say, yeah, I'll agree with you there, and I would put the check mark besides Bobrovsky.
It's funny because people get so wound up. Round 2, I'm watching NHL on TNT, and Henrik Lundqvist ranked the goaltending. Maybe you saw it. Of the 8 teams in round 2 still alive, he had the Oilers 8th. Yep. And I'm like, well, he would know. Hank would know. And at this point, who cares? Yet people get so wound up about this stuff. Have you noticed?
Well, they were ranked 16th, Normie. 16th to start the playoffs. Why would they, when you got one round in and you got 8 teams left, of course it'd be 8. And here's another thing. I wouldn't be totally shocked if Cal Pickard makes an appearance in this postseason still again. Because that's how, I mean, tell me the last time the 2 goalies had 6 wins each going into the Cup final. I think you got to go back to Leighton. Yeah, it's Philadelphia a million years ago. Leighton and I think Boucher.
Wow, that's a long time ago. Okay, check marks both sides to Florida in goal. Everybody knows that. D?
I'm going to give the Oilers the nod here. I mean, after Seth Jones and Ekblad, this is very similar to what we saw in the Dallas series. Everyone said, oh, the check mark is besides Dallas. They got the 2 number 1 guys. They got Harley, Heiskanen. But then after that, the Oilers probably had 5 ahead of what Dallas had to offer. You could put Forsling in there as well, but I'm going to give the edge, and that's because Matthias Ekholm is back, so I'll give the edge to the Oilers on defense.
Honestly, me too. But if this is the closest one of all the categories, if you could say wash, I would say wash, but you can't. Mm-hmm. Forwards, I think you got to say Edmonton because they got the best in the world.
Without question. They have the number 1 player in the world. They got the number 2 guy. And, I mean, you can talk all you want about Barkov, but Leon Draisaitl, it was a shame, a travesty. He only got 1 first-place vote when it came to the Selke voting. Crazy. That just shows you how much the teams out east watch the teams, or the reporters or the voters watch the teams out west. That was a damn shame that Leon only got the 1 first-place vote. I think he was 6th overall, which is crazy. So the top 2 guys they got, and then the depth again. The thing that we haven't really talked about here either, Normie, is that the difference now, you've got Kane, you've got Frederick, you've got Podkolzin, and you've got Kapanen. Those four guys, bang, bang, bang. They're going to miss Zach Hyman. There's no question about that. But they're also playing for Hyman right now as well.
Ryan in upstate New York says Philly in 2010. That seems like a long time ago.
There you go.
Yes,
Yeah,
it does.
and Boucher.
Coaching, I'm sorry, it hurts, but I gotta say Paul Maurice. I can't. Chris Knobloch from Imperial Sask. We love him, but I gotta say Pomo. How about you?
I think you could say that just because he's been around a lot longer. But I'll tell you what, if you go and look at in-series adjustments, what Chris Knobloch has done through games 4 through 7, I mean, the record speaks for itself. I believe it's something like 18 or 19-2 that their record is. Sure, they lost game 7 last year, but as the series progresses, Knobloch is the kind of coach that makes the right little, small, subtle moves and subtle changes to either the lineup, maybe the way they play, that you don't maybe notice it all the time, but they are successful all the time. Look what he did when he added Kapanen and Stetcher, took out Ty Emberson, and then moved the defense around a little bit, and Stetcher was just absolutely great with Darnell Nurse. And now right now Stetcher's the seventh D-man because of Matthias Ekholm coming back. But I just think that there's little subtleties that Knobloch does that go unnoticed. I'm going to say this one's a wash if I can.
I was going to say, so who you taking? You're not taking anybody. That's fine.
I told you, I'm taking the Oilers in 5.
Okay. I'm just saying, no. I'm not saying the coaching, but you're saying a wash. Okay. I'm giving it to Pomo.
I mean, if you have to give an edge, if I have to say one or the other, you would say Maurice because of the experience, and he won a Stanley Cup last year. So you have to give him that.
How many times you watch Boys on the Bus?
Oh, I don't know. About same as you, I think, huh?
Okay, not as much as Slapshot, but still quite a few. Quote Rod Phillips here. Do you remember? Do you remember the 3 Saskatchewan coaches that have won a Stanley Cup? It's kind of a trick question. Oh. You can get 2 for sure. I know you can.
Really? Well, how far are we
I'm putting
back?
you on the spot, and it's not fair. Well, Dick Irvin Sr., they say, is 1. And I'm not totally sure he's a Saskatchewan guy, but that's what the Sask Sports Hall of Fame says.
He's a Regina guy. He's from Regina.
That's what they say. Dick Irvin Sr., yes. Dick Irvin Jr., I know, was born in Regina.
Dick Irvin Jr. on the show a couple times, too.
Like all of us greats, born in Regina. Mike Babcock and Jared Bednar are the other 2.
Jared Bednar. That was the one that was why I couldn't believe I can't get Bednar. Well, he was a Humboldt guy, right? Obviously, so.
Yes. And born in Yorkton.
He was in Prince Albert when we were working there.
Yes, he was on the Raiders when I was. And Babs, born and raised in Saskatoon. Back on track here. Special teams, statistically, I don't even know. Oilers had the best power. Yeah. That's what you got?
They're 30% on the power play right now. I mean, you have to give the penalty kill to Florida, but overall, special teams, I would favor the Oilers in this one.
I'm with you. And then my last factor is the X factor, the hockey gods, the woo-woo, spiritual universe. It just feels to me like Edmonton's time. I've said that, McDavid, the look in his eyes, there's something different. Well, although we said that about the Leafs, though. We said they're different, and it turned out they weren't. So, X Factor, who do you like in that?
I got, for sure, Edmonton is the X Factor. Go back to the, and you've seen it probably a couple times as well, the documentary on Prime, when they show the camera in the dressing room and, Connor's almost unconsolable, and Zach Hyman saying, we will be back here. And they are, and I think this is their time.
I was on a show in Florida yesterday, and the guy said, how did you feel about them having the camera in that room where McDavid clearly didn't know what was in the room? I'm like, I don't like it, but you're a TV guy. People still talk about that clip. How do you feel about it?
Well, again, I don't know if I would have allowed it on as much, to be honest with you. Like, I don't mind the camera being in there, but you have to have a say in what you get to see as well. And I understand that there are certain protocols and certain, maybe it was total carte blanche, whatever they had the NHL to put on this. They're trying to get, viewers to Prime and things like that. To me, I would have maybe shut it down a little bit on what the final product was there. You always want to have it documented, because if just think again, and you brought up Boys on the Bus, if that's not documented, we're not seeing all the great stuff, and it doesn't even get to the cutting room floor. But if I were the Oilers, I probably would have maybe said, okay, maybe not as much, because we're the losing team, and show Florida a bit more.
How do they feel about the camera being at the end of the table? Slats, see any birds? Grits, see any birds? Right. CFL, I got the Edmonton Elcamos, 5 wins in last place. You taking that deal or not?
No, they'll have more than 5 wins. I see them as a 500 team, maybe even one game. Well, 2 games, I guess it would have to be 8-10 or 9-9. That's what I got them at. I was at the game on Friday. Very disappointing to see less than 5,000 people in the stands for that one. So I know it's preseason, and I know fans have other things to do, and it's tough in the sense because there's a few other things going on, and we are an Oilers town first and foremost. There's no denying that, but it's going to be tough for the Double E to regain a bit of a foothold here on the Edmonton sports landscape.
Dickie, 1999, you and I were there. Commonwealth, preseason game 2, Riders at Eskimos, 35,000 people. And the only reason I know is I looked it up the other day because I'm writing a foreword for Narco's autobiography. I'm like, this got to be a misprint. 35,000 at a preseason game at Edmonton in 1999. Munch on that for a while.
Again, less than 5,000 there, and I understand it's preseason, but again, new ownership, the new president, Ed Hervey back as GM, new coach in Mark Killam, but they have a lot of work to do to get football fans back into that stadium.
Could they ever get back to 35,000 for a regular season game, let alone a preseason game? What do you think?
I don't see it. I mean, the lower bowl obviously is the only one that's open. They've closed off the upper bowl. There's tarps still on the end zone, and then in the one end zone, so that's closed off. I would say, how about you? Let's try to get back to 20,000 first, and then we'll talk about anything higher than that.
Less than a minute. Brian from Edmonton wants to know your thoughts on the Edmonton Prospects changing their name in the WCBL to the Energy City Cactus Rats.
I didn't understand it. I saw that, even the logo of the team, and I didn't understand it, but maybe the kids like it. I have no idea. But we're really blessed here. We got two ball teams that are, the collegiate ball teams in the 2 leagues. We focus a lot on the Riverhawks, obviously, down being in town, with the Prospects being a little outside of town. But it's great ball, and it's wonderful that we've got 2 teams in our city.
Baseball is an amazing thing. Kevin, as you know, you're amazing too. Thanks for coming on. We covered it all. Enjoy the hockey.
Thanks, Normie. Take care, buddy.
Don't lose my number. Oh, great. Kevin Karius from Sports 1440 Edmonton checking in from the City of Champions. We're going to take a timeout and be back with more, a sports update and viewer takeover coming up in a moment. We'll let you go, Kev. I don't know if they take you off the screen here or not. Brand new production company, and it's going fantastically. 15 seconds? Okay, guys. There you go. And Kevin can adjourn. Sports update coming up and viewer takeover the rest of the way after this brief pause.